Some people don't just look at people, they study them. They notice the fake smile, the sudden silence, the tiny change in someone's tone. They can walk into a room and instantly feel tension, even when nobody says a word. And here's the disturbing part. Most highly observant people didn't become that way naturally. Their brain learned to scan people because at some point, paying attention became emotional survival. So if you've ever been told, "Why do you notice everything?" or "You think too deeply," this video might explain why. 1. They notice energy changes immediately. Highly observant people notice emotional shifts fast, not because they're psychic, because they pay attention to patterns most people ignore. Imagine a group of friends laughing together. Everything seems normal, but then one person suddenly becomes quieter after another person speaks. Most people miss it. The observant person doesn't, because while everyone else hears words, they notice the facial expressions, the body language, the awkward pause, the forced smile, the emotional tension hiding underneath the conversation. Their brain is constantly comparing behavior. And many times, this starts in childhood, especially in emotionally unpredictable environments. When someone grows up around anger, manipulation, criticism, or emotional instability, their brain learns, watch closely, something could change at any moment. So now as adults, they read rooms automatically. 2. They study people before trusting them. Highly observant people usually stay quiet at first, not because they're shy, because they're gathering information. They watch how people treat strangers, how they react when ignored, how their personality changes around different people, how they behave when nobody important is watching. Because behavior reveals character faster than words ever will. Anybody can sound kind. Anybody can sound confident. But patterns never lie. For example, a manipulative person may act charming in public, but an observant person notices. They interrupt people often. They only respect people above them. They become cold when attention leaves them. Tiny details. But over time, those tiny details expose the real personality. That's why observant people often say, "I knew something felt off about them," long before everybody else realizes it. 3. They remember small details people forget. Highly observant people remember things most people overlook, not just facts, emotional details. The exact way your voice sounded when you were upset. The thing you casually mentioned months ago. The sentence you said when you were emotionally tired. Because observant people attach memory to emotion. While others hear conversations, they mentally store emotional patterns. That's why they often surprise people by remembering something tiny from months or even years ago. And honestly, sometimes it's overwhelming, because their brain rarely stops collecting information. 4. They can detect fake people quickly. One thing highly observant people hate is inconsistency. When someone's words don't match their behavior, they notice immediately. A person says, "I'm happy for you," but their smile looks forced. Their tone changes. Their eyes lose warmth. Most people accept the compliment. The observant person notices the emotional contradiction, because fake emotions leak through behavior. And humans are actually terrible at fully hiding jealousy, resentment, insecurity, or manipulation. Eventually, the mask slips, and observant people are usually watching when it happens. 5. They overthink social interactions later. This is the exhausting part nobody talks about. After conversations, highly observant people replay everything in their head. Why did their tone change? Why did that joke suddenly feel awkward? Did I say too much? Why did they pause before answering? Most people move on from conversations instantly. Observant people analyze them like detectives, because their brain is constantly searching for hidden meaning and emotional patterns. Sometimes this creates deep emotional intelligence. Other times, it creates anxiety. Because when your brain notices everything, it also struggles to relax. 6. They notice what people avoid. Most people focus on what's being said. Observant people focus on what's missing. the question someone avoided answering, the sudden topic change, the nervous laugh, the emotional hesitation. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. For example, ask someone, "How's your relationship?" And they instantly say, "Amazing." But then they avoid eye contact and immediately change the subject. Most people accept the answer. The observant person notices the discomfort underneath it, because avoidance is also communication. 7. They trust body language more than words. Words can be controlled. Body language reacts first. That's why highly observant people pay attention to eye contact, posture, facial tension, voice changes, micro reactions, because emotions leak through the body before people can fully hide them. And the eyes especially reveal more truth than most people realize. A person can fake confidence with words, but their nervous movements expose fear. A person can fake support, but their facial reaction exposes jealousy. Observant people notice those tiny emotional leaks constantly. 8. They get drained around people. People often think observant people are just quiet, but many times their brain is overloaded. Because while everybody else is casually socializing, they're subconsciously processing everyone's emotions, group tension, behavior changes, hidden conflict, awkward energy, social dynamics, constantly. Imagine running 10 mental tabs every second during a conversation. That's mentally exhausting, which is why many highly observant people need isolation after social situations. Not because they hate people, because their mind needs silence. Being highly observant isn't always a gift. Sometimes it comes from loneliness, sometimes from trauma, sometimes from growing up in environments where reading people became necessary. But it also creates people who understand human behavior deeply, people who notice emotional truth, people who can sense manipulation, insecurity, sadness, or hidden tension long before others do. Most people hear words. Highly observant people notice what escapes between them. If this video felt painfully accurate, subscribe for more psychology and neuroscience content.